Hey guys, it's Morgan and happy 2020. I've been wanting to do an update video. I'm not very consistent at this. I know it's not like my job or anything. I just like to kind of um, come on here and like download thoughts. But I always do a beginning of the year video just to kind of update. And I do have quite a few people who ask me how I'm doing. So I just wanted to come on here and do this just to have a running record of how I'm doing. And it's just something good to have. So I'm not wearing any makeup. I look crappy, but as you can see, I've lost a lot of weight, and this is an actually really bad angle, but I don't hate it because you can see that I definitely have like a more defined jaw right here. I have like a definite indent there, and I have a little bit of acne right now, but I have lost a lot of my double chin, but I do have this. It's one of my most like self-conscious areas, but I'm hoping it'll tighten up a little bit. Anyways, I'm just hanging out at the house doing things, and I've been wanting to get to this, so I just said, let me just do it. I'm not gonna do my makeup. I'm just gonna do it right now. And get out of the way. I don't honestly know where to start, so I guess I'll start with my statistics and let you know what I'm doing like weight-wise with my weight loss journey. So I had weight loss surgery on March the 5th, 2019, and as of this month, I am 10 months post-op, and I have lost in total about 114 pounds and just under 100 pounds since the surgery. So as of the last time I checked, 'cause I didn't weigh myself today, I don't weigh myself every single day. I'm not obsessed with weight anymore. The last time I weighed myself, I was right at 230. So my heaviest was 244.4, and today I sit 100 pounds plus less than that, which is really good. So those are just some of the stats. When I started the weight loss surgery journey, I was 323. So yeah, 323. So I'm almost down to that, and I have 10 months, so that's good. I feel like so much has changed for me in my thinking and in my outlook on weight loss in general. Nothing really teaches you why you were fat or why you couldn't lose weight like losing weight. You learn so much, and I'm a learner. I like learning things. I like breaking things down to like the very nitty-gritty, like fine underneath lying thing what it is. And nothing has ever taught me how to actually lose weight than losing weight. And I know that sounds like the stupidest thing I could ever say, but I've just learned so much. I've learned a lot about why I couldn't lose weight before, like what I was doing and why I couldn't lose the weight. Like, it's very obvious to me now. Like, and I'm also still learning so much about the underlying like psychological reasons, like why I couldn't lose weight. Like, that's a whole nother side to it, like what I was actually physically doing wrong with my nutrition plan or my eating habits, but also like what is going on behind the scenes that was contributing to me not being able to lose weight. And losing weight has just been an amazing experience. I've learned a lot, like I said, but also I've had such a alleviation of craziness around that. I was sort of hyper focused on weight loss, and in a lot of respects I should have been, because it was a serious issue for me. I was highly concerned with it, but it was literally consuming me, because I couldn't focus on a lot of other goals, because that was my biggest mountain at the time, and I couldn't get over that. And I'm, at the end of the day, just super, super, super grateful that I had weight loss surgery. I know that a lot of people lose weight without weight loss surgery. It happens. But for me, seems like the light just changed in here. But for me, I now, knowing how I eat and how it's consistently daily the same, like, lack of food, I don't think I could have done this without weight loss surgery, honestly, just being honest. Like, I required medical intervention at that point. And one thing I've really learned is like how intertwined everything is. It's not just physical weight loss, it also has a lot to do with mental. Like, it is so crazy. Everything is just very intertwined. It's not just one facet of your being. It's a spiritual journey, it's a mental journey, it's a physical journey. And things like eating disorders, from what I've learned, like, I'm not exactly sure that I would characterize it as an eating disorder that I had. I guess I kind of would technically, but let's just say disordered eating. It's not just mental. It's, especially when it's like a binge eating disorder or like you're obese, like a lot of it is so physical that it overrides the mental. So what I mean by that is that a lot of people think like, oh, I have an eating disorder, it's mental. Or, oh, I have disordered eating, so something is wrong in here. Like, I'm thinking about something wrong, like something is going on that I need to resolve. That is true, but also when you get so heavy that you're hormonally jacked up. So is it just mental, or is it also a consequence of like your hormones and things that are beyond your control? So what I'm saying is that it's such a there's multiple culprits. So I feel like that there's just so much lack of information, and there's not a clear roadmap to how to take care of yourself and how to overcome obesity. There's not a clear reason, like, why am I like this? Why did I get this way? It's so much self-discovery and like me search, and like this has been like such a enlightening year. Like, I've learned like so much, and I kind of want to do like other videos where I can talk about like, there's a lot of people who get weight loss surgery who are not that successful or not successful at all. And like, I'm right at like the critical point where you can stop losing or you can keep losing. I just see so many people who don't do well after weight loss surgery. Like, they can't keep it off, they regain. And I think I have some insight into that too, because like I haven't gained. And I think I know like why that is, and I would like to kind of talk about that more. Another thing too is like, it is so overwhelming, the amount of information like out there, like on the internet, in the support groups, on the Facebooks, on YouTube, everywhere. When you get weight loss surgery, it's such an investment because it's such a risk. You're putting your health at risk because it's a surgery, and it's an invasive surgery, and then you are literally cutting your stomach out of your body. And so it's a risk, and you are spending money to do it. Sometimes it's insurance, sometimes it's out of pocket. For me, it was out of pocket, but you're putting so much, you do not want to mess it up. And you see the statistics and you see that like, it's not easy. It's not gonna be a magic pill. You get warned that you can gain back your weight. Everybody kind of knows that. I don't think anybody gets the surgery and thinks like, this is it, no more having to put any effort in ever again. Like, I don't think anybody's that stupid, but it can cause a major amount of stress because like, you don't know what you're getting into, and You don't know how you're gonna take it. You don't know if you're gonna be one of the success stories or one of the failures, and you're scared shitless of regain and fucking up your surgery, and it can just paralyze you. And one of the things it kind of does is it can really get in the way of you just focusing on your day to day after surgery, and you can really get caught up in doing all of the things. And at the end of the day, a lot of those things don't matter. There are so many suggestions and restrictions and things that people put out there that you should do. There's such a huge amount of controversy in whether or not you should be going to the gym right after, and it's a whole thing, guys. So yeah, it's just a lot of stuff that goes into it. There's not a clear cut approach. There is, right after surgery, like recommendations and like a roadmap, but there's so much other noise. And like part of my journey was cutting out the noise and staying out of the support groups, and just listening to my body has been a big thing. If I could go back and talk to my fat self, not that I'm not still fat, I still am at 230s or 220s, whatever I'm at. If I could go back and tell myself anything, I would tell myself, don't worry about all the dumb stuff. Don't worry about intermittent fasting and not eating after 6 o'clock, and don't worry about keto and all the rules. Like, throw the rules out and just adopt a really, really basic foundation. And that is basically what a basic foundation looks like for me is eating clean, not eating junk, not going out to eat, eating things that are not processed. If God made it, eat it. And be smart, pay attention to your body, pay attention to what your body's telling you. If you're feeling bloated or inflamed after eating a certain thing, don't mess with it. And just keeping it really, really, really basic and minimal and simple. That's what's important, I think. All of the other stuff is just noise that if you've already reached certain goals and you're trying to level up to another level of health, those noise things might be good ways to like tweak what you're doing currently to go to the next step. But when you're 300 pounds and you're worried about stupid stuff like, should I take my shoes off to weigh myself, or can I have carrots, or are they too many carbs? Like, nobody got 300 pounds because they were overeating the carrots. Like, it's just so noisy in the weight loss area. And like, you go on there to better yourself, to educate yourself, but there's so much extra information that's completely unnecessary and is so, it's an obstruction to like what you're trying to accomplish. And I've just learned that keeping it really simple, keep going day by day. I did not cut out any food groups, honestly. I didn't do keto. I just followed the rules. What I did was I did there's the different phases after weight loss surgery where you have to do the mushies, and then you have to do the purees, or what I like kind of would say first, and then the mushy foods. I followed those to the T. I think a week after surgery, you're not allowed to eat for 2 weeks, but after a week they called me and told me that I could try a sugar-free jello, which I did. I didn't eat for 2 weeks after surgery. Luckily for me, I was in so much pain that eating was just the worst thing, and I didn't ever want to eat. There have been people who literally got out of surgery and felt like they were starving. I didn't experience that. I had a rough surgery. I lost a lot of blood. I was not one of those people who popped up and got right back into it. And the most important thing is just don't compare how you're doing to anybody else, and to go day by day listening to your body. Give your body what it wants. Let your body learn that it can trust you. And that's like one thing I had to do. If my body is like super hungry and telling me it wants to eat, but I'm like, no, because we're intermittent fasting, your body is learning that it can't trust you, and ultimately it will override you and get what it wants. Like, our subconscious is so much more powerful than we give it credit for. Your body's going to get what it wants regardless. Like, you're not that smart. Like, your animal brain will veto your ass every single time. It will keep you safe. It will process things for you even if you don't get them. Like, you don't have as much control as you like to think you do. So listen to your body and work with it, not against it, because trust me, it is a dangerous, vicious cycle that will rob you of your happiness. Like, it will just eat away at you, consume you. It will distract you from what's really important and accomplishing like real tangible things. So I have a few, I followed all of the basic guidelines getting started, and a lot of people will say this, you'll hear this a lot: the one thing I regret about weight loss surgery is not getting it done sooner. I really honestly believe in like timing for me has been perfect. I honestly think there is a side to me that wishes maybe I'd gotten it done sooner. Definitely. I wonder if I shouldn't have gotten it done a long time ago, like 2013, 14, instead of waiting 5 years. I think I would have been okay and been able to figure it out. But I am just super resistant to, I don't usually take the easy way out. I don't like Band-Aids. I don't take any medications. Earlier today, I was listening to a podcast on the PCOS Diva about CBD oil, and like, I was just like, no, it's a Band-Aid. Like, I like to feel my pain, and I like to feel it because it keeps me moving. It keeps me trying. It keeps me, if there was like a magic pill that made me happy when I wasn't, then I wouldn't change things to make me happier. I would stay in my shitty diaper, and I hate the idea of that. And like, I firmly believe like nutrition is everything, and I just believe you have so much control over, I don't believe you have a lot of control over, like I said, your subconscious. Like, I feel like your animal brain can override you, but I feel like we have a lot of control over our, like, how am I trying to say this? Like, I feel like I have a lot of control over my health. Like, I feel like I was dealt a certain hand, but I can lifestyle change a lot of like medical things, and I don't like medicine. And I can get into that in a whole thing, because now that weight loss, I'm not done losing weight. I'd like to get down to, I don't have a goal weight. I've never had a goal weight. But I feel like, so if in my wildest dreams I had a goal, my goal would be this. My goal would be 1 year after weight loss surgery, which would be March of 2020. My ultimate, in my wildest dreams, would be lose 100 pounds since surgery. So be down to like 223. actually my ultimate goal would be to be out of the 200s. So I don't actually think that's going to happen, and I'm okay with that. But either lose, I've already lost over 100 pounds, like from my highest. So I'm super satisfied with where I am. But losing 100 pounds since surgery, which would put me at 223, or even better than that would be out of the 200s, which would be a tall order. Like, that's a lot of weight in a year. The other thing would be to be pregnant. That would be a big thing. One thing that has changed a lot for me is the mental around like goals and weight loss. So when I started this journey, I firmly believe that it was about vanity. It was one of my biggest motivations. It was a big motivator for me. I just hated the way that I looked in clothes. Like, it was starting to, that was probably one of my number one motivators, or at least I thought it was. It was becoming unbearable to see myself change physically in certain clothes. Like, there was, for some reason, like, if I was, I know this is going to sound TMI, but if I was naked, I could see myself and be like, okay. But if I saw myself in certain outfits, I would be like, no, this shouldn't look like this. And for some reason, my brain could comprehend that. And that was like a huge motivator. Another thing was when I was 344 pounds, I was scared that having weight loss surgery would make me look uglier and saggier and all the things. And I hear that so much. I hear so many people say, I want to get weight loss surgery, but I'm really afraid that I'm going to have so much saggy skin. And I thought a lot of the same. And then things have changed. Things have changed a lot in a lot of ways. So for one, I don't give a shit about the saggy skin. I don't care. I love it. It is one of the ways that my brain comprehends that I've lost weight. Also, another thing is I never realized how fucking big I was. And granted, I see other women who were a lot bigger than me, even at my heaviest at 344. There are bigger people out there. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. The thing is that I couldn't see how big I was, and there were lots of days in the past when I would wake up and look at myself and be like, I'm not that fat. Like, I'm not that fat. But I really was, and I couldn't see it. I had grown up fat. I wasn't one of those people who go through teens skinny and then like after they have kids they start getting fat and packing on the pounds. I have always been this fat. I've always had my face. Like, I've always had the same proportioned fatness. I just got more taller, and I think it's completely different growing up fat versus getting fat after adulthood. And I did not know how fat I was. There were a lot of moments in my life when I would like sit a certain way or see a certain picture or something would happen and I would be like, oh my God, I'm so fat. But when I held up my clothes, I didn't, and I'm holding them like this. This is like, I can remember my shirts being about this big and being a 3X or a 4X or a 5X if I wanted it to be baggy. And I think my actual size was like a 4X. A 3X would be something that was like, I wanted it to be tight, and a 5X would be something I wanted to be loose. But I was in all those sizes, and now I'm in an extra large. Like, this is like, I think it's an extra large or a large. I don't know. But I think it's an extra large. And this is just a thermal pajama top, so whatever. It has these little, I got it at Black Friday. So, now when I hold up my shirts, they're this wide. So I remember my shirts being this wide. I remember just holding them up and folding them and seeing the visual. And now my shirt is like this wide. So yeah, it's just crazy to me. So I could not understand how big I was. My brain didn't grasp it. Our brains are weird. I'm not mad that I didn't know that though, because it really protected me and my confidence. Like I just felt like a normal girl, like a normal woman growing up. I didn't hate myself for being fat. I didn't dislike my body at all. I didn't feel unworthy of like love or a sexual relationship. My brain, you know, prevented me from having any of that. Like it was never easy for me to understand why a woman who was fat, like I would see a girl who was fat and I could find a lot of beauty in her body and in her appearance and not understand it if she struggled with self-confidence. Like I had a lot of issues with that. Like I couldn't see it. Like I'm just like, you're skinnier than me. Like you have a great shape. Like I don't care if you're 280 pounds. Like you're beautiful. Like why would you be okay with like a shitty ass boyfriend and be like, well, at least I have a boyfriend who, like oh god. It just like annoyed me and like I didn't get it. So my brain like couldn't see I was that fat, but I can kind of understand how it was like a protection to help me adjust. Sorry, I keep adjusting my legs, but um I don't know, it's just weird. So another thing is, I'm trying to think what else I was gonna say. Another thing too is it's really, really hard for me to see that I lost weight. The scale shows me I lost weight. Pictures show me the most. Like, it's true what they say, take a lot of before and after pictures. Like, I need to take more after pictures because there's this weird phenomenon that happened and they tell you that it will happen and it absolutely does. So if you're getting surgery or if you've had surgery, weight loss is interesting and it's not a simple calculated equation. And one thing that's been true for me over the last like few months is there's times in your journey where your scale won't move as much, but your clothes size will. So that definitely happened for me and I was prepared for that. And I try my best not to put too much pressure on myself so I don't get too paranoid and freak out and try to do extra. So I try just to maintain a good amount of basic skills and goals on a daily basis. Like I've decided that I have zero control over my body, but I have control over what I put into my body. So what that means for me is that I can't dictate how much weight my body is going to lose this month. Like I have zero control over it. Like there are so many things that come into play, like your hormones and all of the damage you've done to your body from gaining the weight and carrying it for so long and excreting it and bloating. And excreting sounds like such a gross word, doesn't it? But like burning that weight and bloating and water retention and, like I said, hormones and free radicals and antioxidants and like gut health. And there's like so many things going on. Like all I can do is get good sleep. I can make sure I'm eating good food instead of junk. I cannot overeat because I had a gastric sleeve. I can overeat junk at this point in the journey. I can eat slider foods. I could eat Cheez-Its until the cows come home. I can eat boxes and boxes of them and eat thousands and thousands of calories a day, but I don't. It's a choice. That's where I have that's my part, is to feed myself and feed myself clean. And that's what I try to do. And I'm not always perfect. There's been a couple days where I eat like 2 Hershey Kisses, or I'll eat like there's these like Nature Valley protein bars that have high protein and low carb, like maybe 9 grams of carbs or 8. So they're not complete shit, but they're processed foods. And like sometimes I will reach for the processed food because for all the reasons, like I just want to relax, or I just want to taste it, or I just want something good to eat. Like I don't want to like eat the chicken. So I have those moments too, but that's the only place where I have the control to decide what am I going to eat, and it's my job to make the good choices. And all of the other stuff, like all the hormones and the bloating and the gut health and if I'm eating the right way, if I'm taking good supplementation, if I'm drinking the water, if I'm not doing self-destructive things, then I will be okay. And that's why I was okay and I didn't freak out when I wasn't losing weight on the scale super consistently for like a month or two. I could still see the change, and I knew how little I was eating, and I knew how good I was eating, so I didn't stress it. That's basically it. I'm not perfect. I never have been, and that's why I don't like telling people like what to eat and acting like an expert, because I'm so far away from being an expert, and all I can do is like really share my thing. There's a couple other things that I want to mention really quick, and then I'll just end this video. But I want to talk really quick about, and I keep closing my eyes and I don't know, I'm sorry. But I want to talk really quickly about the psychological impact of weight loss surgery. And there's been a couple of, sorry, I had a call come in. There's been a couple of things that have drawn light to some psychological things that I personally need to address. And I haven't entirely addressed it, but I think that I've written about it. I'm talking about it on here. I really haven't discussed it with anyone, but I'm going to put it out here, and it makes me feel a little vulnerable to talk about it, but that's okay, because I have to put it out there, because that's what helps me to writing about it and talking about it, whether it's to a professional or on here, like it helps me to get it out there. So basically, let me put it this way. Before, when I was 340 pounds or 300 pounds most of my adult life, I had no issue with embracing my femininity, or what's the word? Sexiness. Like I was totally okay with wearing a sheer shirt. Like I had this sheer, it was like a flannel, but it was sheer, and like I would wear a bra under it, and like I embraced my body and my femininity at 300 pounds very easily. I felt very safe taking up space and being a bigger girl. Like I loved makeup and all things girly and hair, and I loved looking pretty, and I felt pretty and all the things. And when I first started losing weight, there was a zone, like zone 1 or phase 1 of weight loss, where I lost weight and it felt very comfortable and very good, and I was still recognizable to myself visually. Like I just looked like I always had, but I looked better and I looked sexier to me, and I embraced it and I rocked it, and I wanted to buy cute clothes and still dress cute. And that was like the first phase. So it was like this like amount of weight that I could lose, that I could still feel comfortable, and still there was no brain shift. And then what happened was I started getting noticed more and hit on more, and I started being treated differently by people because I was like more socially attractive, or it's weird. But anyways, I know I look disgusting right now. Like, I'm just very plain looking right now. Like, I don't have makeup on and I'm wearing a pajama top and like shitty lighting and like, you know, all the things. Like, this is just bare natural me. And this is a really bad camera angle. Like, it's not flattering whatsoever. But there came a point in time when I was doing my makeup and dressing cute and I started getting too much attention, and it started feeling really uncomfortable. And when it first started, being a married woman, like, I don't require the attention and I don't need it and I never have. Like, even before I was married, like, a lot of my self-confidence comes from inside me. I give zero shits if a person finds me or the world finds me attractive. I've always believed that. But there was like a certain phase after weight loss that if a guy approached me, he would do it as a one-on-one, and I guess that was like the comfortable level of being approached and found attractive that I was okay with. So, and I guess I didn't realize there was like a really difference. And I know I'm rambling here, but let me just try to get it out. So, being really, really fat, if a guy wanted to talk to me, he would usually do it as a one-on-one. And like as I started losing weight, I would get more like one-on-one where a guy would maybe give me a look or give me a wink or say hi to me or hold the door and just be really, really friendly. And like that was great. Or if he wanted to say something to me, he would say it to me. There came a point in time when I started getting attention I wasn't used to. And I guess like I never knew that I was missing out on anything. And I don't feel like I was missing out on anything, but I didn't know this component. But men were getting louder about it. Like if I were dressed and my makeup was done and my eyelashes were on and my nails were painted and I was wearing really short shorts or something like that, there were guys getting loud. I think like the most startling was I was walking into a gas station and I was dressed very nicely, had my hair, my wig, everything was on point. I just looked like a badass bitch, I guess. I don't know. But, um, and I've always carried myself well, but there was a guy there who was working there and he was like, damn, you're gorgeous. But he said it very loudly. And it embarrassed me in a way. Like, I don't know. Like, I just don't, either I wasn't used to it or I didn't like it, or ultimately he didn't do anything really wrong, but maybe girls who are skinnier or more attractive are used to that kind of attention. But then I started getting even other bits of it. And for example, there were these two guys and one guy like was said like damn, like, and he pointed me out, and then like the other guy agreed with it, and for whatever reason it made me not want to wear makeup in public anymore. It made me start wearing my glasses more because for some reason I feel like glasses made me uglier. It made me not do my hair when I left the house, and I'm still kind of in that phase. So if I'm going on a date night with my husband, I will dress really cute and I'll feel safe about it. And I don't know if safe is the word or just uncomfortable, but it's so hard for me to understand. And like, I don't know what the issue is. I don't know if it's because I felt safer in a fat body. And now that I don't have that as a protector, like it's definitely a thing. And I was also, so I don't want you to think that I don't think I'm ugly. I think I'm just like a normal person. I don't think I'm skinny by any means, but I do feel like I'm like a more normal average American chubby girl weight. And I feel a lot more like normal or acceptable size for a chubbier, bigger girl. I'm not like extra fat. Like I'm just like normal fat, like on the skinny side of fat. So, like I said, I'm still losing and stuff, but this is something I need to figure out for myself. And like I said, I don't feel like I'm ugly now that I've lost weight. I just don't recognize myself sometimes. And dressing has not been easy. I mostly dress very functionally now. I don't buy a lot of like clothes. Like I have a few like outfits I can wear to church, but like right now I'm down to like the nitty gritty. Like, and I'm okay with that because I'm not at my final weight. I'm still losing. So I wear a lot of sweatpants and a lot of sweatshirts and a lot of t-shirts and a lot of like Uggs. And that's basically my wardrobe. I have some leggings and sweatshirts, and I wear a lot of sweatshirts because it's winter, and I'm okay with that for now, although it's really not me. And I'm just kind of growing into who I am, and I'm gonna have to like relearn my body and who I am, and like my sexuality, and like how I perceive myself, and like what is sexy and what is not. And like that's a whole learning curve. And I was listening to a podcast, and I don't know which one it was, and I wish I had remembered, but it was talking about infertility and femininity, and how and it was talking about like PCOS a little bit, and like I forget exactly the gist of it, but it was, oh, you know what it was? I'll tell you what it was. It wasn't a podcast. I was watching this person on it's called Fertility Homeopath, and her name is like Inga Fleur, and she's on YouTube, and her channel is Fertility Homeopath. And she was talking about, and it just resonated with me. It just resonated with me. And it was talking about not having a healthy relationship with your father, or having a father who's too aggressive or abusive, or having some kind of like adverse trauma in that kind of way. It doesn't even have to be like abuse. It can just be like you resonate more with your father, or you dislike your mother. It can be like a lot of different things. But basically, there can be a thing where you reject femininity in your brain somehow as a child. And when I was younger, and even to this day, even to this day, I love girly things. Like I love makeup. I love being girly. I love dresses. I love purses. I love being a girl. But I have never felt like I was only feminine. Like I have a whole lot of fucking masculinity in me, and it just is what it is. Like can just I could never I like both sides of it. Like I love the feminine side of myself, and I embrace it. I love it. But I could never just be just that. Like I have to be at the same time, like I am just very aggressive. I speak what I say, I mean what I say. I have no fucking problem beating the brakes off somebody. Like I have gotten very controlled with my growth, and like just like my maturity. Like I just wouldn't just like bust out and like beat the shit out of anybody. Like I wouldn't. But trust and believe, like I grew up a Lewis, and like we will knock the brakes off you. Like we don't have a problem. We're fighters. Like we're just fighters, and we will start a bar fight, and we will win that bar fight, and we will clobber the shit out of somebody. And we are highly like there's just that in me. Like I'm not submissive in that way. Like I'm not like back down from a conflict. Like if a pit bull comes for me, I'm a kick the shit out of it. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna run. I'm not a runner. I'm not a flight. I'm a fight 1,000%. And I don't back down, and I'm not scared for sure of much. Maybe like a spider or shark or something like that, but like I don't get a whole lot of intimidated, you know? Like trust me, I have my moments, but like I'm just like, you know, when it comes down to like mechanics and physics, and like diagnosing a mechanical issue, or like, you know, getting down and dirty, and like doing a manly thing like chopping wood or stacking wood or yard work or driving. Like I love, like, I know it's not like a skill just for men, but like I love that role. Like one thing about me is like I can drive anything with wheels. Like I can just I'm pretty tough. Like I don't know. There's that whole side of me. So I don't identify just as like a super soft, sweet, feminine like flower. Like no, like I'm just not like that. Like I like a lot of tomboy things and I always have. And there's definitely a lot of like masculinity to me in some way. And that just is what it is. But the thing is like it's weird because I'm a contradiction because I'm so fucking girly. I know a couple other girls like this, so it does happen. But in this thing I was watching, it was really interesting because she was talking about how we can psychologically block our femininity and like all of that. The two things I've just talked about, they go together so much for me. And I really think I want to talk to like a professional about that because what's the harm it's going to do? Like, it's just really, really interesting. And it was like really interesting because she was talking about PCOS. Now, I want to do another video about this, about my PCOS journey, because PCOS is, I've been misdiagnosed twice, and I haven't been actually clinically diagnosed with PCOS because I've been misdiagnosed twice. Now, I'm 99.999% sure I have PCOS now. I've done a lot of research on it. People get misdiagnosed all the time. I've gotten ultrasounds, didn't have cysts on my ovaries. I've gotten blood work done. A lot of my levels were fine, but I had really bad ovulation, irregular periods. I was always told lose weight and you'll get your periods back. I've lost over 100 pounds. I've lost 114 pounds, and my periods still are not regular. I'm going to be going to the doctor soon. I'll talk more about it. I'm pretty sure that's the reason why we haven't conceived, although you never know. Like, I could be ovulating and just not have a regular period. Who knows? But I just feel like that whole thing. Anyways, what I'm getting at is like there's a whole side of PCOS that's really interesting that people don't, there's not really a clear cut reason as to why we have it. There's a genetic component for sure. A lot of people who have PCOS, mother or sister also have it, and my mother does not have it. I do not believe. I'm pretty sure she doesn't have it, and if she does, it's at a very, very low, microscopic, like not affecting her ability of anything. My dad's sisters might, which makes me wonder why there's not like a male component of PCOS. It's completely misnomered. Like that's not the right name for it. It should be like androgen or metabolic dysfunction or something like that. But I truly believe that men can have it and pass it on to their kids and so forth. There's a genetic component. The other thing too is that like there's a really, really very high percentage of women with PCOS who have severe trauma and then also like, I don't want to say daddy issues, but they can have like what am I looking for here? Unhealthy childhood with a male role model with like their fathers. I'm not trying to say I was like I wasn't sexually abused as a child. Like I was not, in case you're wondering, but like I was not, and I was not sexually abused at all. I was not sexually abused, but I had a very aggressive father who was abusive at times, and it's just very interesting that people who have PCOS or who have infertility issues due to PCOS, I wonder if there's a thing. Like, I wonder if it's like, if it could be some kind of mental inability to, do we have a mental override that we're not in control of that is preventing us from being able to be entirely fertile. Is that a thing? I don't know. Anyways, it's very interesting to me. Science is, we are at a crazy place in our society right now. We have like an obesity epidemic, but at the same time, we can't call it that because it's like fat shaming, because it's like, you know, like all this stuff, and like diet culture, and like it's just a whole thing. Everybody's everywhere. There's not like a roadmap. There's not a lot of clear cut science, and there's a lot of noise. So that's why I just try to stick to the basics. Anyways, I'm really starving. I haven't eaten anything today, and it's probably like 4 or 5 o'clock. So I'm gonna go eat real food that God made, do some dishes, and I'm going to talk to you guys later. So thank you for the support. Thank you for listening to the update. If you guys have questions specifically about weight loss surgery, leave them in the comments and I will do some more videos. So yeah.